Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. This podcast is sponsored by Chocaloha. Go to chocaloha.com. Use the promo code Jiu-Jitsu Radio. Get 20% off. I'm going to power through these sponsors. Hopefully they won't get upset because we got a special guest today. But go check out our sponsor, Chocaloha. Chocaloha.com. Jiu-Jitsu Radio. Get you 20% off. Then go check out Jiu-Jitsu Soap Co. Use the promo code JJ Radio. Get 10% off. Shawn, I don't think you saw it, but he made a pretty cool promo poster. Jay from Jiu-Jitsu Soap Co. made a pretty cool poster. I don't know if it's safe for the kids, but it's pretty cool. I'll show it to you later. It was definitely not safe for the kids. Yeah, but it was definitely super cool. I really appreciate the promotion. So go check out Jiu-Jitsu Soap Co. Use the promo code JJ Radio. Get 10% off. Check out giraffechoke.com. JJ Radio is the promo code. Oh, look at that. Consistency all the way around. Man.
Makes it easy.
Yeah, right? Get 20% off a order of $50 or more. I know that Cyrus is working on some new graphics and stuff. I was just talking to him the other day. Hopefully I can get him on the podcast. Go check out giraffechoke.com. Go buy something. Don't be a dick. Go support the team. Go support the home squad. And now, even though I rushed through it a little bit, I want to go ahead and introduce our guest for today. He's been a guest on the podcast before. He reached out to me, said, hey, I want to be on the podcast. And I said, come this week. And he said, no, thanks. And I said, next week. He's like, okay, maybe. And then he said, no, thanks. And then he said, next week. He said, okay, now you may see me.
Well, that's the special part of the special guest.
Yeah.
It's going to be...
Yeah, it's on his time.
A special guest.
Deal. I'm the best there is, plain and simple. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence, and nobody can hang with my stuff.
Get stealing, woo, wheeling, dealing, limousine right, jet flying, son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time holding these alligators down. Woo!
Cheers, gentlemen. Cheers. Clinky, clinky. A lot of tin cans. All right. Trying something new. Hyde Power Potion. Pineapple cooler.
Your name alone tells me leave it. Don't touch it.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
I'll see you tomorrow. For sure, I'm going to have a little bit of extra energy.
drink half.
Yeah.
It's not that much. In the grand scheme
per
of things.
serving.
350 caffeine, yeah.
Per serving milligram.
I think, yeah. For like per sip. I think it would actually kind of screw me up pretty good if I end up chugging this down. So I'm only going to sip it.
Don't drink the whole thing.
Good evening, Professor.
Good evening.
How are you?
I'm doing great, brother.
Thanks for coming out.
Thank you for having me. I know that it's been a little crazy, but when
You're
you get
busy,
family
man.
in town and JOB and kids and craziness, so
Look,
listen, we made it happen.
Look, dude, that's your fault.
Yeah, that is my fault. All of it.
You're the one
I'll take
deciding-
credit for it.
You're the one deciding to be an adult.
Yeah.
And do all the crazy stuff, but
And it sucks.
I think-
not all the time.
I think out of the three of us here, you do the most in the jiu-jitsu community. So I think you get the leeway of taking the time off. So we've got options. We can either start off with a couple of jiu-jitsu news, or we can kind of go straight into something that you said you wanted to talk to me about, because you sounded like you had something on your mind. Do we want to keep the people in suspense?
Yeah, let's keep them in suspense for a little bit.
All right. So
Hopefully I'll remember what the heck I wanted to talk about.
that's good, because I got a couple of things that I actually wanted to bring up and talk about. It's actually a lot of things that happened this past week or so. Actually, we didn't do the podcast last week. It wasn't all your fault, because I had to move last week anyway, so it kind of worked out to my benefit.
Doing grown-up things.
Yeah, I hate that stuff. But this past week, Norifumi Kid Yamamoto passed away.
Rest in peace, brother.
Died of cancer. I couldn't find anything. I don't think they really specified what kind of cancer he had, but 41 years old. Record of 18-6, had one of the fastest knockouts in one of the organizations. I think he had a 4-second knockout. UFC 2011, fought against Demetrius Johnson. This guy was a legend,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was a legend to define legends for sure.
I mean, I remember him, back in K1 Heroes when they had the tournaments.
Yep.
Yamamoto was just a beast. People literally just pull out of fights when they, or not take the fights against them. A former teammate of mine was supposed to fight him, at one point, JC Cavalcante.
Yeah, that's
You
right.
know, and and I remember him training for it, and everybody, because he comes from a heavy wrestling family. His father was a world-class wrestler. His sisters, I believe, they're also both world-class wrestlers. One of his sisters is married to Anthony Inoue, or Adrian Inoue, one of the Inoue brothers. So I mean, the guy straight out of the womb was just wrestling and fighting and
Born fighter.
And he was incredibly talented. He was a character. Everybody thought that he was just kind of like a little bit of a jerk, but that was just his switch. Because I'd met him a couple of times, and he was always super cool, super chill guy. We always had something. He between his broken English and and my Spanglish, there was something to talk about. And he was funny. He loved comic books and tattoos. I think in the last couple of years his body was probably fully covered in tattoos.
Yeah.
So
he had a couple of really cool ones. He had the one around the neck. I think it was all Japanese lettering. Cool guy, man. Sorry I never got to meet him, but shout out to his family. Our condolences. And then, I mean, not that I wanted to start off really with sad news like that, but it happens. Next, I got Gilbert Dorino Burns is going to be fighting at the Gracie Pro. So he was supposed to fight.
He's supposed to fart?
Yeah, he's supposed to
maybe
fart.
I'm sure it happens.
I got stories about that one. That's different. That one I have stories about. He was supposed to fight Clark Gracie, and actually I went over to his house, to Gilbert's house on Sunday. Okay. I hung out a little bit, and he's like, "Oh yeah, Clark pulled out." So I'm like, "So
injury?
he's gonna fight?"
Do we know if there's an injury or?
Supposedly there was an injury. I can't confirm or deny. I think it was probably just a bailout more than anything.
I don't know, man. I wouldn't think Clark
hasn't done any massive matches in a while, right?
Yeah, but he's one of those guys. I don't see him pulling out. He competes.
He competes regularly.
Look, either way, it's a benefit for us because now he's gonna fight Sergio Moraes. Big dude, skilled, and even better. Don't forget that Sergio fought Kamaru. So there's
That's right, he did in MMA.
He's got a little bit of
little history.
Yeah. So it would be cool to see. That one is on the 30th of September, and actually that Gracie Pro School, we got Terere versus Rafael Abi Rihan.
Yeah,
Rihan.
That's the guy that gave me my nickname in Brazil.
Abi?
Abi fought. No, Rafael.
Yeah.
He gave me the Miúdo nickname. We went to his school in Rio, and I told him my name. He goes, no. He goes, no. Here you're going to be Miúdo. And Manny just started cracking up, and I'm like,
that's awesome.
What's so funny about it? I don't get it. Well, what it means teeny tiny little guy.
Yeah.
So that's Abi Halan. He's the one that gave me
show up to the gym naked or something. That's why.
No. Then he would have called me tripod. So I don't know what that is in Portuguese.
Look, it's cool to see Terere back though.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that's a freaking legend.
But here's the thing now. From your experience, do you think that a lot of people really know the history of Terere?
I don't think so. Not the new school guys. I mean, because for a very long time, Terere has some personal issues that he had to deal with. He stepped out of the scene. He completely sort of disappeared from the jiu-jitsu world.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, he started back with his social project in Brazil, doing his work in the favelas and training again. And all of a sudden, he started popping up. I believe he competed in Polaris.
Yeah, he did Polaris 4.
Yeah. And, so I don't think everybody can truly appreciate what it means to have, Terere in any event for that matter.
I think Ricardo did a good breakdown of him. I'm pretty sure, right? He did a breakdown.
Oh, Ricardo Amendola. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's a Terere super fan.
I think it's one of those things, if people really studied a lot of the techniques that are pretty standard for jiu-jitsu now.
I remember watching.
He was way ahead of
He was ahead of the
way
curve.
Ahead of his time.
And he was super aggressive.
Oh.
That's one of those things.
He wasn't the one that broke his arm against.
No, that was Jacare.
That was Jacare. Yeah,
that's a different match. That's
different Ray type of guy.
Yeah.
And then you actually have, for the girls, Jessica Swanson against Tayenne Porfirio.
Yeah.
Yeah, I met her. She was actually here a couple of months ago. She did a seminar with Bruna up in at Combat Club. Super nice girl. Super fucking strong. She is no joke. Like, I went to go meet her. She just woke up because I went over again to Gilbert's house. And she had just woken up. She comes out. She says hi. Like, shook her hand. I'm like, please don't ever fucking punch me. Her hand was just straight muscle. Super nice person. So that's going to be actually a pretty good tournament, at least for the super fights. The big news this week, Eddie Cummings left Danaher Death Squad and went to Unity Academy. How crazy is that?
Look,
he was one of the original part of the Death Squad.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, it's you can't. There's a lot of top dogs there. You can't. It's like
but when you're one of the originators,
yeah, but like he's been like if you've paid attention, he's been kind of shopping around a lot.
A lot of guys do that though.
Yeah, but you could kind of see the writing on the wall with that. I don't know why. And look, he could still be cool with everybody. You never know. It just means like
yeah. I mean, I and that happens in different ways. Whether it was just a mutual thing or convenience. You can right. You really don't think about going from Henzo's to Unity because you're literally in the same city block almost.
Yeah.
But I mean, it could have been a thing of. There's a couple of new up-and-coming guys out, in his weight class in the Danaher Henzo team.
Yeah.
I forget the kid's name, but he just won either the Kasai or one of the EBI events, one of the invites.
Nicky? Ryan?
No. I think it's Tony something or.
He replaced someone in one of the main events, and
Right.
I apologize for not remembering his name.
It's an Italian guy.
But yeah.
Not Grippo, not Johnny.
No, Johnny Grippo's Garcia. But anywho, maybe Eddie caught feelings over that. But if you look at, just like Shawn said, you start looking at the writing on the wall. He was cross-training into a lot of different other places.
Yeah.
Not really, involved when his teammates were competing. When he was always there. It just happens. It's the evolution of things. There might have been some kind of disagreement. It might have not.
From your opinion, and having worked with pro fighters and things like that, how do you feel about guys that do that? Whether it's someone that's one of the big names in your team but goes and trains at other gyms. Is that something that you frown upon? Or because I think it happens more and more.
Yeah, lately, of course, it happens more. I mean, I remember the times where there was probably, and I'm not exaggerating, in South Florida, and I'm talking from Vero Beach to the Keys, maybe 5-6 black belts.
Yeah.
Cross-training didn't happen back then. You were a trader, you were a creonche, you were, you were outcasted if you ever did that. However, nowadays, there's 5 black belts in one single gym, and everybody cross trains. Some people go to one particular place because of their wrestling program or their kickboxing program, and they go to another jiu-jitsu, or maybe they just have friends over there and want to train every now and then with their friends, just for fun. So that's not. I don't think it's that big a deal. I think when it comes to the professional MMA guys, even some of the professional grapplers, you start crossing certain particular boundaries because specific techniques, specific strategies. Okay. But I think now the whole issue of, everybody still sort of claims their team and so to speak. But I don't think it's so frowned upon anymore.
I think it comes down to, honestly, that I think Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is starting to become Americanized.
Right.
And when something comes Americanized, it's less about loyalty and more about trying to become the best.
But it's also people are understanding more the line of the pro guys. Like, that's the thing that I started seeing is, okay, all the people that I've been able to train under, like George Santiago, and you sit there and look, they were professional fighters. They understand about going to another place to go and train because you need to work with a specific person or someone that has a specific style. I think those people are more open-minded about it compared to other guys that maybe are a little bit more old school where they're like, no, you're here forever. You're not going anywhere.
I think that bounces back to what Shawn said. It's about being the best performer, the best athlete that you can be.
Yeah.
And if that means, that you train at XYZ gym consistently. This is your home base, but you have friends that train at a different gym, and you know they're very good at a particular skill set. Maybe they're good footlockers. Maybe they have really, really good wrestling, and you need to take advantage of that situation. You're going to cross train with your friends.
Yeah.
You have to.
And I think with Americans, we don't have that loyalty bug, because our loyalty is that money we pay you every month. We pay you that 150 or that 100 or 120, whatever it is, for your gym membership. That's my loyalty.
But
if I don't receive the loyalty back, which sometimes in the way these schools go, what are you giving me?
Yeah,
I'm paying you for a service. You're giving me you're giving me the service.
Yeah.
Why should I stay loyal to you out of that?
There's no,
unless there's a personal relationship
Yeah.
between you and the professor. I see no problem.
there's no non-disclosure agreement when you sign up for a gym.
Yeah,
Right, you go,
And-
you
but
go train.
but look, I went through it and it sucked. Where I had to
Well, I
pick.
mean, so did I.
I went through it 8 years ago when I left Charles McCarthy's American Top Team to train with Manny. Manny's jiu-jitsu just made sense to me. It just everything he taught just was right in my wheelhouse. So, but I love Charles. He's such a nice guy. He still is a nice guy. But and I had a lot of friends that were training at ATT in Boynton, and so, but I just liked Manny's jiu-jitsu better, and it was a hard decision. For 5 months, I still played both places,
Right.
just because I had this sense of I owed him something, even though I didn't. I really didn't owe him anything.
Yeah.
I paid him for the education that he gave me, and then once I found something that made more sense to me, I went there.
And I think that's a personal perspective. If you want to look at it in that particular aspect, you get your bachelor's degree from Florida Atlantic University or any particular college, but then you go get your master's somewhere else.
Yeah.
You're paying for an education, just like you said, and I feel that I can continue my education elsewhere. You do that.
do it.
However, you also want to look at, it is a martial art, and we focus on the part of martial. There's still a little bit of sense of loyalty, just like you say. You debated and fought that for some time. I've had more arguments with some of my coaches to the point that, it was like I want to strangle each other, and we take some time off and, we talk it over and, I made my personal choice and prerogative of, to stay where I'm at. But you see it even at the top level. Let's take the 3 of the top guys in the world, Leandro Lo, Buchecha, and Rodolfo Vieira, rather. And, they're virtually 3 different teams, and they train together all the time.
all the time.
And these are guys that face each other all the time, and usually on the absolute divisions. Rafael and Buchecha had competed a bunch of times. Leandro Lo and Buchecha just faced each other in the finals, where Buchecha gave him the win due because he had an injured shoulder. So, I think now with the times and the changes, and reaching that elite level, I think it's a little different.
And I think
the pool gets smaller, but the higher you go, the pool is
But
smaller.
I think it's smarter. Because look, why should we all love this thing?
Right.
Why should we have this?
But that's the old school, Japanese, Chinese, martial art thing, like we're saying, school. I mean, there's a reason why every single old Wu-Tang Shaolin movie was school against school. Your guy came to our school, he raided our gym, and then he beat up our best guy. And now we're bitter rivals.
That's an antiquated mentality.
Yeah, but I mean, I think a lot of people still look at it that way. And that's
a lot of people still do. Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, and most of those people
that's stuck. I mean, that's true. There's a reason why.
Let's be real. Shawn and I are on the same age group, same division, same weight class. And if he tells me, man, Carlos, I need some help. Can you come in and train with me for a little bit? I'm going to Pan. I'm going to World Masters. I'm going to whatever. Man, you bet your sweet ass I'm going to be here, grinding with him. I'll tell him to come over. Yeah. I don't care.
But it's,
we're just trying to help each other get better. And so what? We face each other in some tournament. Listen, for the next 5.5, however long our brackets are, I'm gonna try to do my thing. You're gonna try to do your
see,
thing,
and we'll probably
then-
laugh the whole
and we'll
time.
laugh at it the whole time, and then I'll buy him a Starbucks afterwards. Who
But it
cares?
still comes down to the same thing, though, because of the experience and the knowledge that you have.
Right.
It's because you've been there. Like, guys that have been there and you've trained with the best of the best in your sport, you're still going to go and say, hey, I need to work with this guy if I want to get better. Even though you might end up competing against each other, then you know, hey, I'm going to go fight against someone else that competes against us. I need your help to train. Will you help me train? It comes
The only thing that would be a dick move would be like
releasing all the secrets.
no, it's not so much that. It's train like if Carlos and I trained together and one of us had the ulterior motive of learning their game.
Right. Oh yeah, that's a dick move.
That's
a dick move. But if it's more just, dude, let's drill, train, or whatever. Like Rodrigo's right down the road, and I told him, I go, look, if you need someone to roll with, because he was getting ready for can't remember what fight to
He's
win.
got a fight to win coming
Fight
up.
to win. Yeah.
He's competing in it
So I'm
again.
like, dude, if you need a heavy body,
Sure.
I'll be there. To, you know,
Sounds the way to go.
I'll be there. Right now, I don't know if I'll do it with my back, but
Yeah.
I offered when my back was feeling better. So it's like, and I've competed against Rodrigo, so it's like,
Yeah. Again, I mean, it's not like you get to travel to go and train in all these other gyms. So you pull from the pool that you have. And it's a good pool.
What I kind of like though is I like Florida. Like my loyalty is people in Florida.
You know, and that's something I was going to touch on right now. I think that also happens depending on your geographical location.
Yeah.
You know, you go to, you're looking at places like Florida, you're looking at places like New York, you're looking at places like California, which I call it the trifecta of jiu-jitsu in the United States. And there's a huge population of jiu-jitsu in those, at least Northeast, instead of just New York, the Northeast, where you can easily cross-train with other people, okay? But that's not going to apply going to somewhere a little bit more secluded like Montana or South Dakota. You know, you might have to drive an hour or two to get to the next location. So that might be a privilege that you don't have. And that mentality may be a little different in those locations as well.
Yeah. I mean, different styles, different
And
mentality.
And population, like there, if you're in Butte, Montana, every student losing one student can mean the difference between eating 1 month or not eating 1 month.
Absolutely.
So,
It's crazy though. I mean, the quality, like you're saying, the trifecta that we have so many good people down here, and then in New York there's so many good people, and it's not even all in the city. You go 30 minutes north, you got JT. It's like, so you have killers in all these like random places.
What's crazy though is Florida. Like I realized California might be the same because I saw when I went out there. I remember seeing like, there's another one.
Right.
There's another one. Florida, it seems like you can't throw a rock.
Yeah.
Without
getting
literally within a 4-mile radius, there are from here.
Yeah.
There's at least 3 or 4 other schools.
There's us. There's the Palm Beach gym. There's
Rodrigo.
You got Rodrigo, and then you have George,
And
Lynn.
then there's another place that just
There's
opened.
another Gracie Baja.
Another
like,
Gracie
down
Baja
off
right down the
Fillmore.
street. It's like, it's crazy, dude. It's
But
crazy.
if you go like a little north, I mean, you have Marcelo, and then you have Renato. So, speaking of which, shout out to Marcelo, who won another belt at Men of War, I think it was, this past weekend. So, congratulations, Professor. I don't know where. Have you been to his gym? Up in Jupiter, the Armory?
Yes, I have been.
He's got so many belts. Where like I have a feeling like I could take one and he wouldn't even notice. Like I'll just walk in one day wearing one of his belts.
I personally think in his division, he's one of the top guys
for sure.
Period.
Top 3.
I just don't think he has had some of the opportunities to perhaps getting on bigger stages like Fight to Win or Kasai or any of these big invites that. Stamp your name up.
He
did the ABI,
and I think, like you said, I think
he won 2
doesn't
matches
get the respect.
too. Yeah, he won 2 matches.
He doesn't
Both
get the
by
respect
Kimura.
that he deserves. That's for sure. I mean, I think he's got a couple of more big ones lined up for sure. But
once my back gets healed, I really would like to get a Fight to Win. Because, dude, you mean I could train for 1 match as opposed to...
That's it. Instead of, however many
However
people show up.
you can't. We got the ref right here. You can't have favoritism.
And what?
You got one of the refs. He's like the head ref. You were the head ref for that one too, right?
No, I was not the head ref for the fight to win. I was just one of the refs for the fight to win.
Which, speaking of which, I have a question for you because I did not agree with one of the calls.
I did not agree with one of the calls as well.
I did not agree with one of the last calls.
Maybe it's the same one.
I don't know. For George's fight, I think George won that fight. At the fight
you know what? To be honest, he competed against
one of the guys from
Fight Sport.
I forget his name. Sorry.
Azambuja.
Here's explain.
Here's the case on that, and this is one of the things I wanted to talk about.
Right.
Knowing the rules.
Right.
George, hands down, he lost that match. It was a very close match.
Yeah.
But he lost that match for not understanding the rules.
Why?
And again, because I don't have a disclosure from Fight to Win to openly talk about what the rules are,
right.
I'm not going to.
Okay.
But following the rules in that match, Azambuja was the winner due to their particular rules set.
Right.
One of the matches that I personally did not agree, and I'm personal friends with both of them, was Efrain Ruiz versus Marcelo Meleiro.
Which one was that?
It was a no-gi match.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Okay? And, during the match, understanding there's no points. So Efrain pulled guard, and it was pretty much of a stalemate. However, throughout the match, Meleiro attempted a footlock. And it didn't get anywhere. It wasn't very tight. Obviously, it was not something that it was like, oh my God, he's going to tap any moment. But it was the only moment that he attempted an attack, a submission. And once again, following the rules, I believe that Meleiro should have won that match. But it was given the other way around. I removed myself from that match, even from scoring, because I'm personal friends with both of them. Yeah. I know them both very well. I've trained with both of them. So I as a professional courtesy, that's one of the things that I do. Even if it's not both of them, one of them, I'll remove myself from it. So, but in my personal opinion, that was the case. And again, it goes back to what I wanted to talk about.
I'll let you slide on that one then. All right, you explained it to me. I'll go with it. All right, last one then before we get into it. Nogi Pan Ams this past weekend. Gordon Ryan got double gold.
Savage.
IBJJF.
Not only double gold, all matches won by submission.
Yes, every match.
I told you that dude is a beast, man.
But here's what it comes down to. And look, I'm excited when I'll watch everything that guy does because
he's exciting.
He's exciting. He goes for the kill.
How long do you think you can keep that peak?
Dude, he's young.
I know, but that's what I'm saying.
He's what, 22 or 23 years old?
Something like that.
He's got 8-10 years on him.
But to keep that peak,
depending on how healthy he stays.
Right.
If
he can stay top 5 for the next 8 years.
Here's a fact: you do not reach your peak strength until you're 35 years old.
That's not true. I'm 35. I'm weak as shit right now.
Well,
I was better at like 28.
Yeah, but look what you're eating.
Yeah,
macaroni and cheese and Doritos,
chicken tenders. Look, I earned it today.
Hey,
right?
You're eating like a 5-year-old.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. Shout out to Herbert Burns, too. He competed. He lost his match against AJ Agazam, which was actually a pretty good match. That's another one that... Did you watch it?
No, I did not.
That's one that I would love to have you watch just because the way that the points played out.
All right.
I mean, I can't really go about it on this. We'd have to sit there and watch it. But the way that the points played out, it was an advantage for each. AJ had 1 penalty point. And then 2 minutes or the last 10 seconds of the match, they give AJ the 2 points that he might have gotten.
Well, I mean, this is the thing. If the referee gave it to him,
but here's the thing: he didn't even point out the points. So he had a takedown attempt, and Herbert got up. Then he had a submission attempt with a toe hold. There's one right there behind you. There's a pen on the table. So it was a bit weird. I think AJ did win because of that takedown, but it was okay, you can't give a point, 10 seconds deep off of something that happened 2 minutes before.
Yeah, he can.
Can you?
Absolutely.
I don't believe it.
Well, because
within the rules, yes, he can.
Yeah, because he's got to work to get control. So if he takes him down and he can't control him, but eventually gets that control 10, 15 seconds later.
Right, but
that counts.
That's the thing. That was the thing that was weird about that match. I'll hunt it down so you can watch it.
And again, I can't really smartly comment about it because I did not watch it.
Yeah.
But by your description, if the referee is looking for something, during the scramble, there's a compromising position, or if there's a takedown and the guy's defending, through the takedown, defense, and the submission, and he gets out of the submission. There's a lot more. I can take my time, time run out, and the score is 0-0, but during my analysis of the match as a referee watching the match, and at the end of the time, I deem one competitor that earned 2 points 3 minutes into the match. Guess what? I'm going to give him the points then. Because I'm doing my analysis as the match goes through.
I know that you can chain the points, like if it was in transitions, and then you can chain them all up at the end after the fact. But I didn't know that you could sit there and say, like, oh, by the way, you got to take down 2 minutes ago. There you go.
Another example of that was a match. I forget the other gentleman's name. I believe he was a Gracie Baja guy from Texas at the last Miami Open versus Carlos Diaz from Puerto Rico, bearing Jiu-Jitsu and Yamaso Jiu-Jitsu. It was a very close match, and the referee actually gave one of the guys points. No, I take it back. Did not give him points, okay? And actually ended up reviewing the match, and he goes, oh no, this guy won because I didn't give him points, and there's the move and their positioning where he should have earned points. So, guy wins.
Well, now it's funny you bring it up. Now they're putting in the video replays.
And at the Miami Open was already taking place because they applied it.
Yeah, so you can do the video replays.
Well, there was at the at Wagner's Major
Event.
League Jiu-Jitsu couple last
was
week.
there.
Yeah, I know. I was there. Yeah, he was reffing. There was one of the last matches. There was a
huge commotion,
but there was a lot of people that were so confused about the point system.
Right.
And they were getting so angry. Because they were like, no, he should have gotten those points. Or they gave him some points.
But what was the point or the rule system? Was it an IBJJF based one, or was it his own?
No, it was
I thought it was ADCC rules.
The best way that I can explain it is, to Wagner's understanding, he took what he believed was the best of every system that he knows and put them together. So certain period of time was no points.
Right.
There were certain moves that in most of the tournaments would have been illegal, like, for example, reaping the knee. But he allows it. As long as you don't do heel hooks, you could do straight foot locks. And then the points were pretty much standard. If I'm not mistaken, the match you're talking about, again, it was part miscommunication from the reffing staff, because in his event, you utilize a 3-ref system to avoid those sort of issues. But where the big confusion happened was not only on the call of the winner, but on the points that the team would get.
I think it was Schlosser
and Fight Sports.
Yeah, and there was a meeting. It seemed like in the middle of the.
Right.
So hold on. So run me through exactly what happened.
I don't remember exactly what happened.
The score was 0-0 overtime, and that's the other thing. On overtime,
first points win.
Not necessarily. So you scored a takedown, okay? You get your 2 points. We get back up, and I score a takedown after you. I win the match.
Was it like the last?
The last person to score points. But the overtime also ended up in 0-0, so it was judge's discretion. That always is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
But even worse was there was almost a fight. Dude, this kid, I couldn't believe he did it. So it was the kid from Schlosser. He wins his match. He opens his gi. A little guy, like a 130-pounder or something like that. Opens his gi and starts pounding his chest in Cyborg's face, dude.
That's a bad
move, man. This kid was probably, 155 holding a sandbag and a stack of phone books.
Oh my god!
And you're talking. He's
you see
pumping his chest.
Cyborg's looking at him like, is this seriously happening? And then I look over and I see Eric Schlosser going, like trying to explain.
Yeah,
to
the
Cyborg,
kid's a little crazy.
The kid's a little crazy, but I was like, but what that did, what was cool, it was crappy that it happened like that. But what was cool is it shifted the energy of the rest of the matches.
Yeah.
There became
It became hot.
it became hot.
It was
that
hot.
was such a
It-
bad
there
move.
was a
That's the
brown
last
belt.
thing you ever want to do is get.
That brown belt.
I believe his name is Carlos. He just won a submission-only event, small little event that they just did in Miami last weekend.
Yeah.
And I believe he
for
won.
Fight Sports. Yeah. And he had a close match with the other with one of
The other brown belt from Schlosser.
from Schlosser.
Look, man.
And
last
he
thing
was
you
like,
ever wanna do-
he wanted to win so bad, but I don't like. Here's the thing: I don't believe emotion in jiu-jitsu helps you. I think it hurts you.
Absolutely.
Because
Sure.
you're trying to kill and you're not thinking like you're. Well,
Well, look at what happened. Remember a couple of weeks ago that kid at Worlds, the one that like cursed at the one dude and the guy threw a chair. I forget.
Oh,
what
the
guy-
coach threw a chair. Yeah.
He threw a chair, stormed the mat, stuff like that. Like that's what I'm saying. Like the last thing you ever want to do is get.
there's a new rule against that too in the IBJJF. Any coach that does something unbecoming of the competitive.
But to get Fight Sports, the entire Fight Sports squad to have a target on your back, that's a
Well,
bad
the
move,
dude
man.
went right down the line. That was what was amazing. This little dude goes right down the line in front because you're sitting like a wrestling match.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's seated and everybody's facing the mat. So he goes down the line, opens his gi, and he's pounding his chest, and I'm like, did that just happen?
Man.
Did that? And I was standing there, me and Brian
Wish we could've
Fury.
made it.
Yeah.
We're sitting there just going, did that? We were talking. We were like, holy shit, that kid just.
He is not making it out alive today.
Oh my god.
That's bad.
And I think he hurt. Was that the kid that hurt the other kid?
I'm not sure.
Remember, he hurt the ankle.
No.
or the knee.
That was somebody different.
That was somebody different. Yeah. But it was the same. It was Schlosser versus.
But it was a Schlosser versus Fight
Fight
Sport
Sports.
thing. Yeah.
So
that rolled out of bounds.
Yes.
And
Because the kid was, he never tapped. He was defending the whole time, but he screamed, grunted. The referee believed that the kid was just trying to escape and grunting out of like, let me get out of this one. And then he grunted again, and the referee was able to see physical pain in the face and stop the match. Cyborg got a little hot, yelled at the ref, and the ref and Cyborg already cleared it out and talked it and squared it out. But it was, again, it's one of those things. Is the whole room was screaming, everybody was everywhere, and like you said, it was set up kind of like a wrestling meet. So everybody was like on the edge of the mat, and you're trying to watch for not people getting on top and not falling over. And that's the one where the kid got injured a little bit.
right.
And it sucks when anybody gets injured, but I thought it was so I loved that part of it.
Yeah.
Everything else was a little Wild West, and I get it. It was his first comp. It was the first comp, and you got to work out a lot of bugs. But what I think could help that is I realize Vagner is a gi guy as well, but he's becoming more known.
Wagner is no gi.
No, but he's also a gi guy.
Yeah.
But I think he, because he's becoming more known as a no-gi competitor, he should just make it a no-gi competition.
And and that's I like that uniqueness because the deal is the head coaches choose heads or tails, gets flipped. Whoever wins chooses the first match, gi or no gi, and then they alternate. So then the next coach chooses.
Well, I don't
gi or
mind.
no
I don't
gi.
mind it in the format. I'm talking. The format was perfect. I like the gi and the no gi stuff in the team competition. I'm talking what happened on the outside afterwards.
Oh, I didn't know that the regular tournament was like that as
The
well.
regular tournament was both gi and no gi.
Okay. Yeah,
So
yeah.
like it really
It adds
made
a
for a
different
lot
layer.
of, but it made for a lot of confusion.
Sure.
And it was, and people were leaving, so it was like it was. So I think to
People were leaving
streamline,
like in frustration, or
yeah. I think in order to streamline that, do the team competition exactly how you did it. I thought it was really cool, but
The open
outside,
event.
the open event. Make that just a no-gi competition.
And you know what? I gotta give credit where credit is due. Wagner is not a promoter or event coordinator. He's a jiu-jitsu top level jiu-jitsu athlete. This is his first event.
And it was great.
And I thought it was fantastic. Even with all his little kinks. Listen, for a first time, and he tried to cover his end as much as he could.
He's only one
man.
man.
The things that I saw that could have been improved were minimal, and I think his next upcoming events are just going to be great.
Yeah, I'm mad that I had to miss it, but everything that I heard was pretty good.
No, it was incredible. I loved that team aspect of it. I thought it was really cool. And what's funny was I just listened to the Rogan Eddie Bravo podcast the other day, and there's another one that they just did, Quintet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where you get 950 pounds.
Yeah.
And then that's your 4 people, and then they could face, one of your little guys could face one of the big guys.
There's a combination weight in one single match.
Yeah, so it's like that's a cool idea by weight, but like I really like this one.
You take up like half of our allotted amount.
Well, I don't know, 275.
That's two and a half people right there.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, anybody less than 150 pounds is not really a real man.
Well, I mean, I'm not getting into that. I'm not getting into that argument. I'm nowhere. Last time I was
Walking weight, because I know some guys will make 145. That is a scary thought.
All right, so that actually segues
Segways
into what I think you wanted to talk to us about.
Rules, understanding rules. That's exactly
We
what I
don't
wanted to talk about.
Obey rules in here,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Rules.
but we'll allow it for the day. So what is it that's on your mind?
And it's a perfect way, because I see a lot of people complain, oh, well, this is not allowed. Well, this is not allowed in that other event, but it is allowed here. And, you have some elite guys losing matches due to the lack of knowledge of the rules. And then people go from event to event. It'll be great to have something unified across the
never
board,
happen.
but I don't think that not in my lifetime we're going to see that.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
what can make that? There's only one thing that I think could make that happen, is if jiu-jitsu becomes an Olympic sport.
Absolutely.
That's the only way that
we're not getting into this argument again. We did this last time.
What?
About it becoming an Olympic sport. But you got to look at it this way.
But that's how we could get a unified
Jiu-jitsu,
rule set.
Right.
But the way look at the different rule sets we just talked about in the last 20 minutes. Jiu-jitsu is going to be more like poker, in that the game is pretty much the same, but you have different styles. You have 5-card draw. You have no limit. You have high-low. You have jazz. You have all these different styles. At the end, you still call it poker. I think it'll still come down to, it's a jiu-jitsu tournament with this rule set. It's tough when everybody's trying to find that golden packet of these are the rules.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think you're, like you said, if we end up having a Olympic level sport, then you'll have it. It's still not going to be the golden.
Because everybody would just go.
Still not going to be the
every country
golden
would
rule.
follow the Olympic rules.
Yeah.
And
But look at basketball. Basketball is the same thing. We have NBA rules, and then we have Olympic rules. So you're still not going to have that.
Well, there's a difference between a professional league that you're getting paid and you're a professional athlete to do, and then something that everybody can do. So it's like it would make sense, and it would be smart, so everybody could know the rule set if we could just follow one rule set. Because even look at any MMA, look at the old Pride rules. I love the old Pride rules. One 10-minute round, and then another 5-minute round. But the 10-minute round, that's where you get your battle. You're tested in that 10 minutes, and then that 5-minute round, the finish or whatever. But 10 minutes, everything goes, stomps, all that stuff. I think that's the kind of stuff that I think needs to happen in jiu-jitsu. I think it needs to happen soon. Like we talked about, IBJJF needs to adopt heel hooks. I think it's doing the sport a disservice when you can do everything but this one thing.
Yeah, but remember we talked about it. there's the weekend warriors, which are guys that'll still train 5-6 days a week, but jiu-jitsu isn't their life.
So, and this is something, you mentioned pride. I don't think we have to go that far back.
Yeah.
You could do MMA today, and you do MMA in Las Vegas as a professional, and it's one particular rule set. You go do that as a unified rules. You fight MMA in Texas, which Tyrone Woodley just defended his title.
They're not using it.
It's not the same as unified rules. It's two different rule sets. And, the epitome of MMA right now is, whether we like it to admit it or not, is the UFC.
Yeah.
So this is the exact same organization working under two different rule sets.
But that's not their call.
No, it's not their call.
It's
But
their
and then
mission.
well, we go by unifying and knowing the rules, because something very simple here, a guy can lose tens, hundreds, thousands of dollars. On a mistake, you get disqualified through the match. You're shit out of luck.
But
And then, say for example, we mentioned about heel hooks. I agree. So the weekend warrior, all right, that's going to be your white belts, your blue belts, your purple belts, some brown belts, some black belts are weekend warriors. But I believe that at the brown belt,
It's different.
and definitely at the black belt,
It should be allowed.
you should know how to defend a heel hook or how to tap quick enough.
You're the black belt, not me. I mean, I could say
So,
that, but it comes. it
But
means
that's the
more.
reality. You
I
choose.
would even argue purple belt.
Yeah,
I would argue
absolutely.
because purple belts aren't allowed to do knee bars.
Yeah.
Or
You can do. Did you see? You can basically do a banana split now.
Yeah.
You can do banana split submissions now.
But you can do it. But you cannot do a belly to back suplex.
Correct. But you
That's
can't-
insane to
but
me.
Wait, you can if they don't land on their neck or their head.
But if I have a belly to back and I do a complete back arch, and you land on your head, that's part of the motion of the takedown.
I'm just telling you what was in the
I
rules.
understand what you're saying.
But yeah.
And I agree. I think slam. The only slam that you shouldn't be able to do is
From the closed guard.
From the closed guard. If you're on your feet and you make a mistake, like
wish-
the one. Did you see the one that was making the rounds a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah,
after
the brown belt
Worlds?
division guy
No,
that-
no, they were blue belts, I think.
Oh, okay.
And the dude went to do a like a Uchimata, and the kid caught him and picked him
That's
up.
the one that I was gonna tell you
Yeah.
about.
And
Yeah, I'll put
then
it up right now.
and dropped him.
Yeah.
He got disqualified.
He got disqualified, but it was the right call. And here's why I'm telling you it's the right call. Because once he reversed it and he grabbed the belt, he didn't go with the motion. He grabbed him, picked him up even higher, and then went.
But it's that motion is.
Watch.
I know. I watched
It's
it
the
a bunch.
natural motion of his takedown, but he had control of the individual.
And
now
but
we
he
go
went
to
higher.
understanding
But
the
it-
rules on paper.
But here's
Right.
there is a reason for bringing somebody higher sometimes, because if you don't, they might be able to put their foot down.
Again, here's the thing. The guy was already off of the ground, and then he got lifted up higher. So if I go to reverse it, and in the motion, I could just throw you, that's one thing. But if I pick you up and slam
I
you
don't know.
down...
Again,
Look, we literally have...
Here's the
The-
thing. If you're on your feet, you should be able to slam the fuck out of somebody. That's my opinion.
I'm going to show the ref
Slams
here.
on your feet should be allowed, and fucking heel hooks.
I'm going to show the,
That's what I
the
want out
official
of my
ref right
jiu-jitsu.
now, and he's going to give us the ruling.
And reaping. Reaping should be allowed. Everyone says it puts your knee in a dangerous area. Yeah, so does a fucking Kimura. Put your shoulder in a bad way. And I get it.
But
yeah.
then you can't do a sumigaeshi with the head outside.
Yeah. That was the other thing.
insane.
That part I didn't get.
So I think they try to, create these rules and limitations for the safety of the general public, and I get that. But then, we go back to something that, some of the other guys we were talking about, watering down and softening up,
The sport.
the sport. Jiu-jitsu is a tough sport, and you stay in jiu-jitsu long enough, guess what, man? You're going to get injured at one point or another.
Do you think that maybe doing two separate rule set, where it's like the one would be the weekend warrior rule set and the other one's like full on open
No.
like rule
But we
set?
have that, and it's called belt levels.
I'm just throwing out
In my opinion.
Right.
So, the rules are not the same for a black belt than a white belt
right.
or a blue belt or even a purple.
I can't find
So,
it. See if you find it.
that's your break point. Listen, you're a black belt and you know what the rules are. You signed the
know
waiver.
How these guys are. It doesn't matter what level you're gonna.
But that's your problem.
Right.
That's an individual. That's your problem.
All right. So now going with what you said, because I was there next to you the whole time while you were preparing for the ADCC that we did over here.
Right.
Right. So I followed you those last 3 days, and we did the rules and this, that, and the other. Out of how many competitors did you have that weekend? Over.
Close to 300.
Right. 5 showed up for the rules?
Yeah, very, very, very few.
So at the end of the day, when you have the opportunity for people to come in and learn the rules, you didn't show up. Where were you Thursday night? Where were you Wednesday night?
That's your individual problem.
Right.
And I think this would eliminate a lot of issues. You know, the IBJJF has a rule book, a printed rule book on their website that you can print, PDF file. But the problem is that some of the rules are quite open to interpretation. I'm not saying that it's bad, but again, some of the rules are open to interpretation. And the problem lays on the individual and the individual coaches.
Yeah.
Because I think something that I've seen, and I've been blessed enough to be able to visit a lot of different academies, gyms, I don't ever really see anybody sit down with their athletes that are about to go compete and truly break down the rules and teach everybody, know the rules, know the point system.
Naga
know the
used to do
scoring
that
system.
though.
What?
There used to be a rules meeting at Naga.
IBJJF does it too.
Yeah.
But before the
No, but he's talking about like the coaches.
No, the coach. I'm talking about the coaches time, not the event. Because IBJJF has they have a seminar that they do it. They give you a certificate of completion and the whole kit and caboodle.
what weekend was the Worlds? The 24th,
Wasn't it?
No.
27th. It was the 27th.
Yeah.
Yeah, and and I think most major events do that. ADCC does it. Again, every event that I've been, I can think of that at some point that they do it. They do participate on some kind of rules meeting explanation. But I also think that every event holds back some information for the ref.
Yeah, right. And that was the other thing. And it's funny enough because even in here in the rule book, it says that it's being left up on purpose to interpretation. It's up to the ref of your match to interpret what that rule meant, which is not fair because if you're my ref and Shawn's my ref,
That's
I
two
know
different
that you
interpretations.
two different interpretations. So in one match, I could have you.
You'd be losing if I was your ref.
And then, right.
I'm just letting
so
you
that's
know
what I'm
you're
saying.
losing.
So at the end of the day, let's say it's this way. Okay, Shawn's competing, I'm coaching. You have your interpretation of the rules. I have mine different. Let's say, not that it's going to happen, but let's say yours is wrong.
Okay.
And we know yours is wrong. You still have final say.
Absolutely.
But I can sit there and say, look.
And you
this
can
is
argue
wrong.
it all you want.
And unless you're Galvao, it's not going to get
Overturned.
reversed.
Absolutely.
So, what's the actual solution then?
A perfect, just a more concise rules.
But like
A
you
perfect
said,
example, topic that we were discussing before we got on the air was, in a no-gi match, what determines having grips to be able to pull guard
Yeah.
on IBJJF rules? Is it me touching? Is it me actually gripping the individual? So there's some room for interpretation. And again, a very popular competitor, was complaining on his social media not long ago about the exact same thing. The adjustment of the rule. If the individual pulls guard because there's no way that he could have stopped the takedown or whatever case may be, it goes back to the interpretation of the referee.
yeah. I mean, that's what happened to me in my match. He went to go take a takedown. I couldn't stop the takedown, so I jumped guard. I still fell on my back. It's a takedown for him. Cool, no problem. He slammed me twice. Nothing happened. So it's one of those things. It's weird that, but like you said, some rules are kept not hidden, but you guys don't put it out there on purpose.
Right.
And that was like my other question to you, because I know that we didn't record anything with the rules meeting and stuff like that specifically for a reason, because that's what it's mandated. Because we want competitors come in and get the rules directly from the ref.
Correct.
But with an organization like IBJJF, because you have so many tournaments, should they have full-on videos? This is the rule. This is the instructional course. There's no interpretation. This is it.
I think so. I think that there should be something. And again, they have a very good rule book with the rules described, and it's a pretty lengthy rule book. But I mean, you could compare that rule book and look at it. I mean, that thing is like the OSHA federal regulations, safety protocol. It's insane.
Yeah.
So it should be simple, concise, and
to the point.
cut and dry, to the point. So
what about like when it comes down to situations like that where it's up to the rest just version of the rules? This is what I think it means. So what about that then? What do we do in that situation?
I think that's a poor choice on the organization's part, and that's just my personal opinion.
Right.
They should not be up to interpretation.
So what about, let's back to the IBJJF rulebook. It says that if it comes down to a draw and the ref can't make the decision, it's a random pick. Is that really fair to do a random pick?
Absolutely not.
Like you're gonna flip a coin?
Well, I think I just overview that, and I think it has something to do with injuries. If both competitors cannot continue.
That's what it is.
That also
and the
involves
score
an
is
injury.
tied.
It's not just on the injuries.
Yes, it is.
It's not just on the injuries.
Mm-hmm.
So let's use your example at hand. And again, because I have not read the book front to back. But if the match is 0-0,
they both are injured.
They're not injured.
Okay,
the match is 0-0. There is zero advantages anywhere. There's zero and nothing on the scoreboard. It should not be a random pick. Impossible.
Right.
There's always one person pushing the action more than the other. And,
sometimes though it's close.
Sometimes it's close. Now it is definitely a referee's discretion.
Right.
I'm going to choose who I believe, and this is something that I would personally use. Who's trying to finish the match? Who's going for the submission?
Okay, so let me ask you this. Totally different sport. Did you see the Triple G Canelo fight this weekend? Okay. Super close fight.
Right.
You look at the numbers, Triple G technically won, but you look at the percentages, Canelo won. The percentages are skewed because if you threw less and landed less, or landed more, let's say, in the percentage, where you say you landed 35, but you only threw 100. I threw 300 and landed 33%. I look like I'm losing, but I still landed whatever amount of punches, like 80 punches, 90 punches, whatever it is.
Sure.
And you only landed 30.
That's the problem when, people say, oh, don't leave it to the judge's decision. Listen, bullshit. Some of these matches, it's going to happen.
So, all right, so now back to jiu-jitsu. We have two big guys. We're just sitting here grabbing each other's lapels. We're pushing back and forth. It never ends up at the ground. We can't take each other down. Neither of us is going to pull guard, and we just push back and forth. What do you do there?
The referee has to make an educated decision. This is where an experienced referee comes into play. He's going to have to make an educated decision upon his observation who tried more.
Minus the Gringo curse.
The Gringo curse.
The Gringo curse.
We have the Gringo curse for sure. But see,
I've been a
we
victim
both
of it.
No, we
at
both
the
have.
Masters. Right?
At the Masters.
I remember that.
So, remember though, you were for the random pick because we talked about this.
Yeah, I think
I'm totally against it.
Look, if we're gonna do, I would say a replay, but like if it's close, there needs to be a random pick. I think if it's too close to call, like if a ref's watching this thing and it's too close to call.
Let me ask you then, Carlos. What match have you seen where it's really, really that close to call that you couldn't pick?
Vagner Rocha's event at the Major League Jiu-Jitsu.
Right.
That match that we were talking about, there was a circumstance, and this was a communication issue more than close. It was extremely close match due to the rules. There was a miscommunication because there's a usage of 3 referees.
Uh-huh.
And the referee, and the center referee, made an instruction to the athletes. My particular position, I could not hear because everybody was screaming and everything was so closed in what the referee's command was to the athletes. And that made an effect on my particular decision.
Right.
If I would have heard something else, I would have made a different choice, perhaps. But, we will have to overview the whole match.
Right.
And there's been matches in ADCC at the world level and the trial level where is one of the reasons why we have a group of judges on the table. The referee on the mat, is for the safety of the competitors. But the judging people are the ones on the table. And it's always at least 2.
Yeah.
And we will discuss the match in its entirety and make that decision, because there will be a moment that Shawn might have missed, but I saw something in particular.
Yeah.
And vice versa. And then we'll conference with the floor referee. I saw this. Did you see this? And he said, well, I didn't see this. Did you see this? And have that conversation.
It happened a couple of times too. I remember it happened a couple of times where the referees had to go back and forth. Now let's say I'm at the table, you're on the mat. We have to discuss things at the end. Who has final say? Does it have to be an agreement?
But this is why the table has to be at least 2.
So it's 3
and
people.
one. So it's 3.
So right, and even in the IBJJF, it's 2 out of 3 have to agree.
Right.
But that's only for finals. Everything leading up to the finals,
no.
It's a single ref.
It's a single ref.
Right, but
And
in
there's-
IBJJF now, they can sit there and deem 3 refs for any match whatsoever. It's not just the finals.
I know they can, but they don't.
They
But
don't.
they don't.
They're not
They
going
don't.
to.
Well,
They
because
might
it's a
have.
logistic issue here.
a
Now you got to
yeah.
pay 3 refs per mat.
Yeah.
It becomes pretty
What do you got,
expensive.
like 15 mats? Yeah. No, they
But,
becomes
and,
expensive.
and that's the problem. Now it comes down to the call of one person, and who's yes, they're right there. But sometimes I've seen refs just looking at one thing and not looking at the other thing that's going on. And
Yeah.
with jiu-jitsu, sometimes the other thing that's going on
It's just
Well,
or more
IBJJF
important.
is
It's more
bad.
important.
IBJJF is bad. I can't think of how many times I saw someone that's sitting at the desk, just looking down.
Well, they're just
They have their
timekeepers.
little, yeah. Well,
They're
no,
time-
because
they're-
No,
now,
but the desk is, you see, and
2 points.
this
They
is,
just flip the
and we
freaking
go
switch.
back to the a universal rule set that we talked about a little bit earlier. ADCC has a particular system in place to try to avoid that issue. IBJJF, single ref on the mat, and again, this goes back. This is why it should be an experienced, an educated referee that had to compete in the past at least. And at least a higher level belt than the competitors on the mat for that same reason, because the outcome of that match is in my hands.
Yeah.
And let's be real, IBJJF, they don't provide any sponsorships for anybody. It's not invites. They're not flying people in. You're making an investment as an athlete to compete, and a weekend warrior, you're looking at $200, $300, $400 in airfare, hotel, meals, entry fees, the time that you're not at work. If you're 9 to 5er, it can be just in one tournament
$1,000.
$1,000, $2,000.
Well, even now, remember, like I was texting you saying that now they're going to introduce that every belt has to sign up for membership. So right off the bat, you're already $100 deep, 120 deep.
Well,
No,
I mean,
it's only $40.
it's $40 for the registration, but then you got your registration
Right.
and then entry fees. But yes, IBJJF has one of the most expensive entry fees in any combat sports. But if you look at in comparison of other combat sports, you got to have a boxing registration. You got to have a USA Wrestling registration. You got to have a
Right, but see,
IJF registration.
It
for
comes
judo.
back down to what you said, though. For me, it's until they get their shit together with the refereeing and the choices that they make and the non-biasness, like let's not have any more biased decisions being made, then I'd be like, okay, here's my money. I'd be more than happy to pay a membership fee for that.
You can't stop buying.
You can't stop that because that's on the individual.
Right.
And
but
it's not
still,
like until we have a robot ref,
Yeah.
there's that calculates exactly what's going on the entire time. There's always going to be a bias because there's even a bias when a ref has a certain game and that competitor plays that game. Like,
Of course.
like I'm a half guard guy. If I see a half guard guy, I know exactly what the half guard guy is doing. I know what he's working for. But if I got a guy that's working spider
game
guard
or
whatever, and I'm like, you know,
Or beating bolo.
or Berimbolo, But it's like I will I don't mean to, but I'll give that guy a little. I'll be like, there's a little.
You can't help it. It's very difficult to disassociate yourself from there. And, you know.
But let's look at it this way, too, then. You have white belts and blue belts. Blue belts are going to be a little bit more inclined to say, I want to compete. White belts are going to be a little bit tougher to bring into the sport. And now you got to deal with the bad decisions. So you already have to pay the $40 membership. You have to pay the $120, whatever, to sign up. Now you come in and you get shafted on that first decision. You're not really going to want to compete in that ever again.
No, unfortunately.
The fact that you don't have to have a membership fee, for me, I think it's more inviting to have white belts and blue belts come in and compete.
It's $40, dude. If you can't afford $40
$40
for the year, then you can't afford $110 for a fucking tournament.
But if you've never competed before and all you hear is people complaining about the rules and stuff like that, are you really going to be inclined to do it?
Yes, because I want to test myself. It has nothing to do with the rules. I don't want.
Then you
I'm
have
not
new
going,
breed that comes in. You don't have to pay for a membership fee, and you pay.
Yeah, but then
$80.
but you have to worry about the shit show that becomes their
They're
schedule.
getting better.
They're getting better. But dude, that's the reason I wouldn't do new breeds before, was because.
Well, look at what happened with the Miami Open, so it's not that much better.
Well,
Right.
well, dude, you can't stop with a fire. It happens. You know that's.
Look, man.
You know, but I mean, and again, we go back to individual events. You know, New Breed's rule set, it's not quite the same as IBJJF or NAGA or any other ADCC.
Has Naga even come down to Florida?
Yeah, they were in Orlando.
But they don't. They haven't come to South Florida.
Look, you
I-
gotta
like,
remember,
they used to be
Naga
down here
shut
all the
down.
time.
Remember, Naga shut down for a few years. Their office got flooded. That's the thing
Yeah,
people
I
don't
remember
remember.
that.
Their whole office in Jersey got flooded in the hurricane.
That's
Remember?
right, Sandy.
Yeah, so it just went, and then there was no more Naga.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think Kip just is going through some health issues as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
But, you know, again, we go back to, solidifying the understanding of the rules. And again, there's the argument of, the yearly membership for a particular organization. Because what happens, IBJJF starts charging $40, and New Breed starts charging another $40, and NAGA starts charging another $40, and every organization out there starts charging $40, and you want to compete, and you want to compete 5-6 times in a year in different events. You're banking, you're dumping $500 a year in just organizational crap. So yeah, the argument for that is there. Realistically, IBJJF is the largest organization, for amateur jiu-jitsu right now. End of story. Do they have the right to do whatever the hell they want?
They're gonna do it because they have the
$40 a year. I don't think is that big a deal. But I do understand your argument. But I don't think it's every ref. I don't think it's a fault of the rules. I think it's a fault of the understanding of the rules. Because then you have guys that are extremely successful and they play with the rules.
Yeah.
And a perfect example of that is Leandro Lowe.
Yeah, playing
or
the
Jeff
games.
Monson, when Jeff Monson was, actively competing in professional grappling. These are guys, that even Terere, I remember very well, and we're talking about how to influence a referee. I remember watching a match of Terere being behind on points, takes the guy back and puts in a choke, a lapel choke, but does not choke the guy out. The whole stadium is yelling, "Ooh, Terere!" And everybody gets all hyped, and you see the referee's expression change and getting influenced by the public.
Yeah.
And the guy does not tap. Terere gets up and raises his hands. Terere might have thought the guy tapped, but you see it clearly in the video. The guy never tapped. And Terere was behind on points. Referee gives the win to Terere. And the guy's like going, dude, he never tapped me. I never tapped.
Yeah.
I was ahead on points. So it happens.
Well,
We're humans.
I think you had a story too when we went through the rules meeting for ADCC that we were talking about. If you have your hooks in, you get your points. Take your foot out, put it back in, you get points again, right?
Well, there's particular rule sets.
In that particular rule set. But I think you had a story. I want to say, was it that you said that somebody won specifically from playing that game?
52-0.
Who was it?
I still remember the score.
It was Pahumba, right?
Marcos D'Amata,
Yes.
and I forget the gentleman. Actually, it was It was one of the smaller ADCC invites we did here in Florida. Pablo Popovich competed versus Marcelo Garcia in that particular event. But it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was 52-0, the score. And again, it's understanding the rules. Marcos D'Amata is somebody that he's a scholar when it comes to the rules. And he will sit there and break down and analyze and break it, and there'll be formulas on a board, and okay, those are the rules. Got him, boom, and he will work with them very, very well.
He's so, man, like one of the coolest things of doing what I get to do is being able to go all these gyms and scoping stuff out and filming and whatever. Every time I go to ATT to shoot somebody doing jiu-jitsu class and Pahumpa is teaching, my mind is fucking blown. Some of the stuff that he shows, I'm like, and I know I probably shouldn't say it because he'll be like, you can't fucking come in here again then. Like, dude, some of the fucking stuff he does is just the tiniest little details of like, fuck, that's fucking genius. Like, why wouldn't anybody else have this? And it's so crazy. Like, something as simple on like your foot placement on taking the back or something like that. It's like, guess what I'm just fucking adding to my game now. Yeah. Like, for sure. It's so crazy, man. Pahumpa is so underrated. And even though he's like so credited, I still think he's underrated on like his knowledge of jiu-jitsu. It's fucking mind-blowing.
Well, to me it's amazing that Renato isn't bigger than he is.
Yeah. Because he's a humble guy. He doesn't talk shit.
How many world championships has he won?
I just asked him this question at the Major League Jiu-Jitsu event, and if I'm not mistaken, he has 4 World Master consecutive championships.
Consecutive. And do you see the shape that dude's in?
Oh yeah, it's insane. I remember, and this is a long time ago, Ricardo Libori was making a joke with Renato because he says he's looked the same way since he was like 12 years old, just with more hair. Yeah. Because he's always been in great shape. And there was a time, I think I was just a purple belt at the time, and I asked Renato, I need some extra, strength and conditioning training. And he was sort of like the first person that I can really remember that put a strength and conditioning program specific for jiu-jitsu. Everybody was like, bench, deadlift, squats, the standard stuff. But, he had me doing sled pulls. He had me doing, we had these sandbags and just pulling kind of like lapel drag movements. And, box jump is, for explosive pop. He was the first person that I can remember having a program like that. And he's been in incredible shape. And his technique is insane.
Did you see the picture he posted right before he went to the Worlds?
I was jacked.
Dude, shredded like a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
I'm like...
what's
I hate
funny?
to say it like this, but I'm like...
That's a sexy man.
Fuck you, Renato. Fuck you, Renato, for being in such good shape and making me feel like an asshole.
But it's funny that you say that, because when I first started doing jiu-jitsu and I was doing all the white belt research, I'm looking stuff up, one of the very, very first videos I saw was Renato Tavares doing like a strength and conditioning program, and it was an ab workout. It was him with like a 45-pound disc on a massage ball, the big like Swedish balls, and just doing all these different exercises, side to side, like hip escapes and stuff, all while holding the 45. And I shot him a message. I'm like, thank you so much for this. I've been doing this for like 2-3 weeks. Like, best abs I ever had. Like, I feel like I can actually do it. My jiu-jitsu still sucks. But it's funny because you say that. It's the same thing. The first person that I ever saw that had all this stuff laid out. And I still do that exercise. I don't have abs, but...
And there's a lot of guys out there, like that as well. And I remember before John Danaher, became extremely popular as he is now, and the whole Danaher death squad stuff, I used to tell people, it's like, man, there's this guy in New York. I don't think he's ever competed, but the guy is so incredibly knowledgeable when it comes to jiu-jitsu. And, you get on the mat, that man was going to rip you apart. Yeah. It's this guy named John. There he is. John Danaher. And, there's a slew of other guys. There's a guy in Indianapolis, named Pat McPherson. Mm-hmm. And he's not very well known. But when it comes to MMA, the guy's an incredible coach. He happened to be Chris Lido's MMA coach.
All right.
And everybody knows him because when you see him, he had this big, thick Mr. Magoo mustache. Yeah. But again, there's a lot of guys out there that are a wealth of knowledge. They've been around forever. They don't get the credit that they deserve.
What's his name from King's MMA? He wins the award like every year for best coach. Come on, I can't believe I can't remember his name. He's so
Dark skinned guy, bald head.
Yeah,
I know
damn,
about. I don't remember.
It's gonna kick my ass for.
You're talking the striking coach.
The head coach.
The head coach. But
he's good. He's another one that's, like, he's
Yeah.
so knowledgeable. Everybody knows he still doesn't get that credit. There's so many little coaches like that just.
But here's
know all
like
this
to
shit.
me, what's more just as important as their jiu-jitsu is the kind of person they are, and they don't get much better than Hanato. Hanato, like what he does, like builds houses in other countries.
He does all the work with like Mission 22. He works so much with vets and stuff. Yeah,
Hanato doesn't get the.
He's as stand-up as like a guy as you can get for sure. And
he's one of those guys that if you have a problem with Renato Tavares,
that's you.
You are the problem.
You are the problem.
Look, by the way, he's not paying us for this. So
no.
No.
This is just personal experiences.
No, this is strictly like every time I see him, he's always happy to see me. Gives me a big hug. It's like, dude.
Yeah.
It's like I honestly wish I lived in Vero.
Yeah.
Where I could train with the guy.
Cordero.
Rafael Cordero.
Rafael Cordero,
That's it. Yeah.
But no, I wish we could go. I remember when we went over there for Foster's
seminar.
That was cool. He did a whole seminar just as a fundraiser for a friend of ours. So yeah, shout out to Professor Tavares. We got to get him on here one of these days.
Yeah. Or if we could go up there.
I got to get Marcelo back on here too. I know he's got a lot of stuff that he wants to say. Like, he doesn't get enough credit. I got to get him and Herbert. They have a lot of fun, like, busting each other's balls. They're pretty funny. To watch them train, it was one of the best. I was filming Marcelo while he was training with Herbert, and Herbert started to get kind of, like, cheeky, going for extra stuff. He's like, oh, motherfucker, you're trying to sit there and do all this extra stuff because the camera's here, and they're, like, cracking up, just talking trash while they roll. It's hilarious.
That's how it should be.
That's what it should be.
You can train hard and have a good time. You don't have to try to kill each other.
No.
The speech that I give all my guys when we're out there, I go, look, this is not a battlefield.
Yeah.
This is a laboratory. You need to experiment with what we've just been going over. If you're not experimenting, you're not finding out if this can fit into your game. So you have to experiment, and if you get caught, if you get tapped, if you get swept, who cares? This is our safe place.
Absolutely.
You need to get into, when you're doing this stuff, how are you supposed to know it works? How are you going to know if you never go for it and all you care about is winning and doing what you've done? So, and that's the speech. Is I said, if you always do what you've always done, you're always going to do what you've always done.
Absolutely.
You're not going to grow. And that's the part of jiu-jitsu.
But people are afraid to lose.
Yeah, but I understand. And I was afraid to lose too at one point. But then I'd say around purple belt, that's when I started going, I'm not growing. I'm doing the same thing, and people are understanding my game, and they're beating me, or they're not. It's not that they made it even beating me, but now I'm not beating anybody. I'm just, they know what I'm going for. So sure. In order to evolve, I had to put myself outside of my comfort zone and start going for shit that I didn't know what to do until it started making sense. Right. So,
what's your advice for guys that come up to you and say, "Hey, I think I'm plateauing. I don't think I'm getting any better. I've been training every day for the last year, and I just don't feel like I'm getting any better." What do you say to guys like that?
First and foremost, what are you doing now?
Right.
Whatever you're doing now, do something different.
Right.
That's it. If you're usually in your gym and, you're a guard player and that's all you do and you're always pulling guard, so guess what? Try to wrestle.
Yeah.
Try to do some judo. Try to play top game. Play more top game. Let your training partners pass your guard. Man, I'm getting stuck on 100 kilos. I hear that stuff all the time when I'm coaching. I get stuck on 100 kilos. What do? Put yourself on 100 kilos. Mm-hmm. And these are some basic fundamentals to escape that position. Now do them. And then adjust it to what works best for you. Because guess what? I got about 6 inches of legs, versus you got 4 feet of legs. That's going to be a whole different escape system from the 100 kilos position. That's just basic understanding, I'm 245 pounds. I'm going to have a different movement. I'm not going to be freaking doing birimbolos ever.
Yeah.
You know? Do I try them? Yeah, sometimes. You know, maybe one day I'll hit it. You know, but you just got to do something different. You know, and that's when growth comes in. There's going to be some change. There's going to be some growing pains, and you're going to tap. Everybody taps. It's going to happen. So do something different.
What about seeing the fact, the trends that always go on? There's always the
next thing.
The next thing. It was the
50-50,
birimbolo.
It was 50-50, then birimbolo, then worm guard.
Yeah.
Now it's about
Well,
footlock.
worm guard didn't get like that popular.
It started
because-
to for a minute.
But
You know,
IBJJF squashed it.
When I started jiu-jitsu, you know, and probably not exactly when I started jiu-jitsu, but surely the new thing was half guard. And I remember watching Saulo Ribeiro competing in ADCC with shorts and a jiu-jitsu gi top. And he was doing some half guard stuff. And I was like, well, that sounds kind of cool. And at the time I had injured my leg, and I was like, let me try that. And it kind of worked for me a couple of times because a lot of guys haven't watched it and haven't seen it. So how am I getting swept from here? You know, and then people started doing more footlocks, and then the footlocks kind of went away for a little while. And then, you know, open guard and lasso started coming in. Then inverted guard, you know, all this birimbolo stuff started coming in. And what's funny is none of this stuff is new. I remember watching a guy, Marcel Ferreira, as a brown belt, doing helicopter sweeps. It's not, you know, now they call it birimbolo. You know, yeah, there's some adjustments. It wasn't really popular back then, but there's not a lot new under the sun. You know, trends, of course, man, it's gonna happen. It happens everywhere. You know, you look at a basketball player in 1945. You know, the average height was under 6 foot tall. Now you get guys topping 7 feet all the time. It's gonna happen. There's gonna be changes. When I started, I was semi-athletic. And now you look at these kids like freaking Gordon Ryan.
Yeah.
I've seen some of the pictures and videos when he was like 16, 17 years old, ripped, all jacked up. You know,
wrecking people.
You see some of these guys nowadays. You know, the professional guys. You know, you never saw bodybuilders 30 years ago. They didn't look the same that they do today. And you know, with science and nutrition and technological advances, the access to information, you know, we joke about it, Sensei YouTube all the time. Yeah. But guess what? You can learn some of that stuff.
Learn a lot of shit.
Yeah.
I learned so much from the Mario Sperry Vale Tudo series. You know, punching a bag. You know, but I learned some stuff. You know, and I had all the DVDs. Conan Marcelo and Carlson Jr. had a video from Panther Videos back then. I had that stuff. I still have a collection, a huge box of VHS tapes that I gotta get it digitized at some point.
Oh, for sure.
You know, God knows if it still works or not. You know, probably disintegrate. But that's something that I always joke with Ricardo Almeida. That no Ricardo Almeida, Amendola, sorry. But you know, he has a stupid collection of vintage. Well, now it's considered vintage BJJ. Yeah. But you know. Change happens.
But what do you say when you get like one of the newer guys, like, oh, I learned this, I just want to do this, and this? Is it one of those things where you like roll your eyes, like, all right, first learn how to do a spider sweep or a scissor sweep?
I don't, because everybody learns different.
Right.
You know, and a story that I have about that. There used to be he was probably around 12 years old back then. A guy named Chris Manuel, and I don't know if you ever met him. You probably have. And he was just 12, 13 years old back then. This is when the first UFC video game came out. And we're training, and he has this little footlock set up on me. And again, he was like 100 pounds, you know, and I'm looking at him like, really, kid? I was like, but that was cool. Where'd you learn that? He goes, on the UFC video game. You can't knock anybody for learning something somewhere. You know, everybody learns different.
I tell my white belts not to watch because they'll come in and they'll ask me questions. I'm like, dude, you don't even know how to get out of side control. I want you to get look. You can watch.
There's some fundamentals. Absolutely, you got to learn the fundamentals.
You know what I tell them to watch? You want to watch something on jiu-jitsu? Watch matches.
Yes.
Watch matches, and then once you get your blue belt, then you can start playing with the different you can start playing with the different
All
techniques.
right, well, let's say this. You get someone that's maybe like a 1-year white belt, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're still granted working on the fundamentals. But he learned something off of YouTube, and all of a sudden is just wrecking everybody. He's catching everybody in this.
Good for him.
Yeah.
But you don't say anything like, all right, go back to doing the other stuff.
Well, it depends. He's catching everybody with one thing, but what else? What's he getting caught with? Because I guarantee you, all one person needs to do is figure that out, how to defend that, and now he's done. And if he hasn't worked on his fundamentals, he's screwed.
100%.
He's screwed. I totally believe that.
For sure.
That first 2 years is very, very important, and it's movement and positions. Honestly, if I didn't have to, the only reason I teach submissions to white belts is because if you don't, they'll get bored.
Yeah.
Of course.
That first 2 years should be positions, transitions, and being able to survive. That's what I think the first 2 years should be. But if you don't teach them how to tap somebody out or whatever, they're gonna get bored. Everybody wants. That's why they.
That's why they come.
That's why they come.
But that's when the bug hits.
Yeah.
It's once they start nailing those like couple of submissions, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, this is what I've been like trying to hunt for, like that little rush, over and over again.
Absolutely. I mean, you have to have fundamentals, you know, and I've seen guys, with very poor fundamentals, but very good at the advanced sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And
they can walk or they can run before they can walk.
yeah, and they're in the EBIs you would see a lot of that stuff. A lot of these guys that would hit a lot of crazy stuff, but they would never beat somebody with solid fundamentals. When somebody can defend these, and I use the EBI because there was so many leg lockers in there.
Yeah.
But when you get somebody can really defend the leg submission game or neutralize it,
They're done.
they don't have anything else.
Well, that's what you get, like guys like Hodger Gracie. It's like all basics.
You can't get more basic game than that, and an incredible high rate of success.
And even what's his face, Kron. Yeah.
Even Buchecha,
Yeah.
you know.
But he's just an animal.
Well,
He's just so freaking
but
strong
still,
and huge.
you see him compete. His game is very basic, very fundamental.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you how I met him? How I met Buchecha? Like the most awkward meeting
he was
ever?
just here a couple weeks or last week.
Yeah.
What's it?
He did a seminar at
Up
at Stephen Stravelli's place.
Right. But I never told you how I met him?
No.
The weirdest fucking thing ever. So it was when I was still working with Gilbert, and we went to Sao Paulo for his fight. So Gilbert had a hotel, like he had the big fancy like Hilton one that the UFC puts everybody in, and I was like a couple of blocks down. So like Gilbert texted me, he's like, "Hey, come over, like I need your help with something." So I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. I walk all the way to his hotel. I had the key, so like I just knock on the door because he was still cutting weight at the time, so I didn't want to just barge in. And
Oh, I remember this. I remember you telling me
fucking like I opened the door, pitch black. A room is pitch black. Now it's a standard hotel room, so you know how it is. You have the little hallway, and then you have 2 beds, and there's always like a little chair or something in the corner next to the TV or something. So I walk in and I see this one guy with glasses just sitting at the chair. That's the only thing that I can see. And then I know that Gilbert's sitting like on the bed somewhere trying to sleep. I'm like, hello? Like, and I look and this guy's like, hey, what's up? I'm like, is that fucking Buchecha? I'm like, what the fuck is this guy randomly doing in this fucking room? And like Gilbert's like, oh yeah. So I'm like, bro, what the fuck, man? I was like, say what's up. I'm like, super weird. Like, how am I gonna have a conversation with this guy? Like, my friend's half dead from cutting weight. This guy's sitting here. I couldn't even recognize him because he's wearing glasses. Like, this is such an awkward situation. I'm like, all right, guys, what did you want, Gilbert?
Yeah,
Like, you want this?
Buchecha's kind of like BJJ's Clark Kent. Like if you seen him,
You wouldn't have a fucking.
you wouldn't have a clue. 'Cause
Yeah, you never know. He's just like a regular looking guy. He's big
big.
and athletic.
Like you could tell Leandro Lowe. You could see Leandro Lowe. He's got a very like distinct look. But like
I've always liked to use Mike Musumeci for that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mikey.
For that, because he looks like such a goofy kid, and
Yeah.
just like you never think he's 2-time world champion.
he's the kid that like he's the guy that I would bring with me at a bar and just like randomly bet people. I'm like, bro, I bet you that kid could fuck you up. $500 if you can even like touch that kid. If you can take that kid down, I'll give you $500. Who? What? That little guy?
It's, I was just telling my guys the other day about Mikey. about how he lives. The only thing he lives for 2 things: school, jiu-jitsu. Well, I should say 3. School,
Wow, dude,
jiu-jitsu,
you fucking give me a Spanish Inquisition here?
school, jiu-jitsu, and pasta.
Pasta.
Dude, he loves pasta.
He loves pasta. But like, he's an animal, dude. I used to watch him and Tammy. They would come to the gym and drill for hours while they're still in high school.
Yeah.
Pays off.
And look, he's the 4th American black belt champion.
Yeah.
Out of for how many years?
And the only one 2-time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
only won 2 times. Who was the other 3?
BJ Penn.
At the black belt level.
I think it's only him.
Lovato?
No. There,
Lovato.
Lovato, and there was one other person.
I don't remember who the other 4th one is.
I will look it up because
I do
this
remember
is
Lloyd
one worth
Irvin.
looking up.
I do remember Lloyd Irvin, but I think he was a blue or purple belt
Yeah.
when he won the Worlds.
Speaking of guys that we haven't seen and BJ Penn, you see he's got another fight?
That's right. He's got
Ryan
a
Hall.
fight coming up. Ryan Hall.
Ryan Hall finally got a fucking fight. So BJ Penn against Ryan Hall. I wonder what's going to happen there. Like, what do you think really is going to happen?
It's a jiu-jitsu match with punches.
Well, and but it comes down to it's technically also new school versus old school.
It is.
Um,
But it's that beginning of new school,
Yeah.
you know, with newer school.
So if we're talking new school as far as like the style of striking BJ Penn is gonna do, like if he's gonna do that dumb shit, like yeah, it's definitely new school. Before we get sidetracked anymore, I wanted to make sure that we went over everything that you wanted to go with.
No, yeah, I mean,
the 4th one was Robert Drysdale.
Robert Drysdale.
Oh, okay, well,
That's right, because
easy to
I
forget.
remember him when he won the Pan Ams as a purple belt, you know, and I heard him speak perfect English.
Who's the
And I
Mexican?
said, I thought you were Brazilian, but at the time he used to be with the Lions. And I was like, I thought you were Brazilian. Yeah, you know, my parents were, I think his parents were missionaries and living in Brazil. And, you know, that's how he got
He
with
didn't do the
jiu-jitsu. But
Mackenzie
he's,
Dern and just randomly switch accents and stuff.
no, at the time he had, you know, pretty clear English. So,
Man, he still does. When I went to Las
Vegas.
Vegas, I went to the school and super nice guy, dude.
oh, super nice.
He's fucking big.
He's a big dude.
He's a big dude. Like you don't realize, like, damn, dude.
Yeah, he's 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah,
Is he? I
He's,
didn't
he's,
know that.
he's
Yeah.
tall.
He's very
and
tall.
he's and he's wide too. So it's like, and I think he fought 205. When
Well,
he fought MMA.
I remember because he competed against another guy that you know, former team, current team of mine, Wilson Gouveia, as a
yeah.
purple belt at the Pan Ams. So
Dude, that's so nutty. It's funny how small like jiu-jitsu really is. There's so many people, but it's really small. Those names.
I was trying to do the math. What do you think the percentage of people in the planet do jiu-jitsu? It's
less-
less. It's
Oh,
less
very
than
low.
1%.
Very little.
0.01%. I mean, you're talking 7 billion, and there's like the question is how many thousand people actually do jiu-jitsu? Like, what did you say? 20,000 times?
No, more than that. I think there's way more than that.
No
I
way.
would say at least 1 million.
No,
At least 1 million people. do
I would
jiu-jitsu.
say worldwide.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say 1 million.
1 million United States.
In the U.S.,
Probably
maybe
so.
about 200,000.
200,000. Yeah, I would say less than 1%.
Because here's the other issue now.
Or-
You know, you go to any martial arts school, regardless,
Oh, they offer
they do
jiu-jitsu.
some kind of groundwork.
Don't get
Are we
me
gonna
started.
Are we gonna do that? Count that as well, or
Don't-
not?
don't get me started
You know,
on
it's
that
a well-educated purple belt in the middle of nowhere with no access to anything else, and you know, so
Do you agree with that? That was it? No one like purple belts shouldn't be teaching.
no,
That they
because it's
shouldn't?
all circumstantial.
Right.
I remember going to, and this is many, many years ago, to Asheville, North Carolina, for work, and we found this small little gym in Asheville, and at the time there was nothing around for 3 hours, and me and Wade Rome, you know, went and we trained with these guys a little bit. At the time, I think I was a purple belt. Wade might have been a brown belt. No, man, you know, there's very able and capable, good instructors that are purple belts.
As long as you teach what you know,
Right.
and it's like, look, you can teach purple belts and below. If you're a purple belt, and you should be able to teach purple belt and below. Now you can't have an IBJJF school because you have to have a black belt.
Yeah.
But you know, look, man, you have like who are we to say you can't teach?
What about Gracie Academy? The online stuff. Or am I totally?
No. I mean that is a little bit off the deep end, but I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't agree that you can get a blue belt without an instructor.
Mail order blue belt?
And mailed order. I just don't. That doesn't sit well with me.
It should be like a interim blue belt. Call it that.
No,
It works for everybody else.
Well, what about those people that self-promote themselves?
I think that's insane.
That is
so
the
great.
craziest
That
shit
is
to me.
the best thing ever. I love that. That guy that promoted himself to brown belt, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you saw that one, right?
Yeah, he was like some long hair crazy dude,
Yeah,
and
it
he
was
was like,
like-
"Oh, I believe I'm good enough, and here I am."
You know, it's been a couple of years.
I watched a guy demote himself.
Did
which I
Anthony
respect.
Newett did it for a hot minute?
Who?
Anthony Newett.
Oh yeah.
He's like, I've been out of the game for so long. I don't feel honored to carry a black belt. I'm
He's
gonna
crazy,
demote
though.
myself to a purple belt.
He's so crazy.
You know, and
I
then
was-
I guess John Lewis had to talk with him. He's like, dude, you're disrespecting me. You know?
He's like-
Get your ass, put your black belt on, and you're a black belt that haven't trained for a while, and get your ass back in the gym.
And what is he? He sells bracelets for like
he
$300.
Yeah, he makes those bracelets, but they go to charity. They go for
No,
good
I
cause.
think it's awesome, dude. Remember when he was? What was it? He was walking.
He did the
Japan?
walk from one edge to the other.
And what's his name? Jeez.
Fowler, Mike Fowler. did
Mike
it too.
Fowler did that with him. I think it's awesome.
Well, Mike Fowler, when he did it, I think with him once, and then he did it again by himself, I think.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure Ensign did it like 3 times already.
That's crazy.
Like, I would love to do that, but fuck, man.
I'd rather do the Appalachian Trail.
I wouldn't. I don't want to get killed by a bear. I'm good.
They're brown bears, dude. They're not that big.
A bear is a fucking bear. I
To
don't
Or
you.
black bears.
Or-
To you.
Yeah.
to you. Like, yeah, you know what? No, you're right. I can definitely outrun you. The bear will take you before it'll take me. Because
You don't know that.
I will put money down.
You do not know you would outrun me.
Oh my goodness, Sean.
Listen,
I am a
I don't have to
division one-
I don't have to outrun
We
you.
just gotta push you.
I just gotta hurt you a little bit and then get out of the way.
That limp will buy me plenty of time.
There's a reason I was a Division I collegiate athlete. So
That was 50 years ago, Sean.
no, it was not 50 years ago.
That was before genetics
That was
really
25 years ago.
played a part in like football.
I'm
right?
still fast in a
They were
straight
just
line.
like, hey, get that big kid that looks a little slow, put him on the front line.
I ran a 4.8 40 at 300 pounds.
That's a savage.
Don't let him hype you up.
Listen,
Don't let him
that's a
hype you up.
savage.
Look, I guarantee you, I will put money. I will make it a thing on the podcast. I will put money on this.
When my performance
Oh.
is feeling better,
Okay. What about your cartilage in your knee?
I can go run straight. I can't turn left. I'm like Zoolander.
He's like the reverse NASCAR of running. I can only go.
Yeah, I can only go right. If I go left and I plant and turn,
Done.
that left knee just does not like to turn left.
That's not fun.
Like Zoolander.
The
Can't turn
beauties,
left.
the beauties of getting old.
Oh Jesus!
I can't even say anything. I
Right
fucked
now,
up my
what's
back
going on with
moving.
me? Let's talk about
Oh, let's
this.
go.
real
Hold
quick.
on. Can I? Did you bring my violin? Because I forgot it.
Right now, what's wrong with me is the smallest muscle in your butt. It's called the piriformis.
The performance, yeah.
It is this big, and it is wrecking my world. It's going all the way down my right leg, all the way up my back. Tom, I was talking to our friend Tom today. He said when he had it done, it put him out for 3 months. When it's like this tiny muscle is wreaking havoc on my life, and it's like I'm 25
grinder
years
day,
old.
huh?
Well, gotta take what you can get. But it's like it's amazing what goes wrong now.
Oh,
Dude, bending over to turn on the water at the to turn the shower on. I'm like, oh, it's like what just happened? It's like somebody shot me in the ass with like a 22 from like, I'm like, what the hell's going on? I'm feeling I'm way too young to feel this old.
Told you go get those PRP shots, man.
No, when I can afford $900 or $700.
It's not that much. Go hit up Tony, man. I don't know how many times I got to tell you to hit up Tim over at.
No, I know. I know how much it is. I know that it's more than $500.
I definitely need to go up there and hit him up. My back is jacked up too, just from moving. It was the first thing I tried to.
and
move.
how old are you?
35.
Shut up.
Yeah, man. It's right.
Dude, I noticed a difference between 28 and 32, and then I noticed
Oh,
a
for
difference
sure.
between 35 and 32. 45 and 38 is like two different worlds.
Yeah. You just degrading on me?
Well,
You're gonna have to like duct.
but
tape
you know,
together and
it's
keep
not so much that.
these
It's now
podcasts going.
you learn how you have to do things. Like now, I'm all about my recovery. So
Right.
like I'm doing yoga 3 days a week. I'm doing out there is I'm not lifting. I rode the bike today instead of lifting stuff so for the next 2 weeks, all I'm going to do is yoga, stretching, rolling out, maybe a little bit of drilling, but that's it because I can't live like this where I can't. I haven't been able to compete for a year and a half. I don't know if you were at the.
The last time we both competed at the same event.
Right.
You know?
And then right after that, I did or two other
No,
ones.
you
after
went
that.
to Worlds.
Right, but then another time, not a year and a half ago, the Miami Spring Open.
Okay.
I entered, I beat the first guy, and I had to pull out.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I had the first time I've ever had to pull out of it, and I was gonna. My next match was against Victor Doria.
Okay.
And I was excited because I wanted to compete against Victor.
Right.
And but I couldn't even stand up.
Yeah,
So I've
I
been
remember.
dealing with this for a year and a half, and it's like, seriously.
Yeah, no, it's not fun. You know, as time continues to tick, you got to take care of
But
yourself.
how do you keep up with your schedule between teaching and then all the stuff that you're doing as far as like,
You know,
the
to be
tournament?
honest, I don't train as much as I want to,
Right.
just because life, you know, and a little bit of my own procrastination.
Well, I still got to come in and roll with you guys.
Yeah, no,
I know you
I'd
had
love to have you.
Yeah.
So.
So, before we leave, the rules. What else you got for me?
You know, I make a plea to whoever is listening. You know, educate yourself as much as you can about the rules, and you know.
But I can't even film you. We couldn't even sit there and do a video where we sat there and did a rule book.
That's a particular situation, but you know there are ways to get the information.
What
you
if
know?
we did an IBJJF one, where you where we go through this rule book and you sit there and you break down the rules?
Yeah, I would love to do that. You know, I don't have a problem doing that. You know, but I think it's an individual responsibility to educate yourself to the rules. So again, you know, it's a plea to everybody that is listening. You know, educate yourself about the rules.
Right.
You know, and you know, don't complain.
I know,
because-
I know it's eating you up inside that you can't throw out the names.
No, I mean, and this is not just anybody in particular. It's just in general.
Yeah.
It happens in every event.
Always.
I had an event that I officiated, Grappling Industries, down in Miami.
Oh yeah.
And I had a parent literally call me every name on the book, yell at me, and, you know, and the promoter was like, "Yeah, you want me to kick him out?" I was like, "No, don't." Number one, it's not gonna change my lifestyle. I'm gonna go home and still be happy and sleep like a baby tonight because I'm tired. So no, don't kick him out.
Yeah.
But he was yelling and screaming because his kid lost due to the rules. The rules were not the same as whatever they
How
were
old was
used
the
to.
kid?
A young kid, maybe 10 to 12.
One of my biggest pet peeves are the parents at these tournaments.
Oh, yeah.
I almost snatched father up. I was this close to snatching him up the way he was talking to his kid.
You did the last
Oh,
one. right?
I've interjected. There was, I want to say it was a new breed. And this guy, and I wish I knew his name because I would call him out. His son lost the match. The kid's crying because I think he lost to a girl. Comes back to the barricade area, and the dad is, "I can't believe him, this and that." I'm like, dude, don't freaking. And I told him just like this, don't fucking talk to your kid like that ever again.
Yep.
And the guy looked at me like he was completely lost.
Yeah.
And people behind me started clapping. I was like, I'm not saying it for that. Don't fucking talk to your kid like that again. Your kid may never continue his jiu-jitsu journey because
Just
of what
because
you just did, you piece of shit. And I walked away because I knew if I would have stayed there,
There you
I
go.
would have grabbed him by the throat.
Yeah.
You know?
And all this kid wanted, I guarantee you, all this kid wanted was a hug from his dad.
That's it.
That's all he wanted. It's dude. It's all right.
Yeah.
You'll get him next time.
That's right.
It's like, hey, just go back. You train some more, and we'll do it again. Like that's it.
Yeah. I like these parents that live vicariously through their
But
kids.
that's the
man.
other thing too, man. Like that's the hard part. Like
That's-
you're thinking about these kids there. Maybe they're not even crying because they actually lost, They're probably crying because they lost, and now they're gonna have
And
to
they
deal with
feel
their dad.
that I let my family down.
Yeah,
Right.
or now I gotta worry about my dad saying
But
shit
that's
to me
and that's a
because I
problem.
lost. Yeah,
you
of
should not
course.
put that much pressure on
That's
your kid
abuse.
to compete.
Yeah, no, that's
If
abuse.
your kid wants to compete, that's one thing. Don't make your kid compete.
Yeah,
You know, my
It's
daughter.
detrimental.
You know, my daughter. You know, I encourage her. You know, go. You know, she wants to train. You know, but there are certain things that you have to do. You got your school responsibilities, and whenever you want to compete, you compete. But I don't push her to it.
yeah.
You know, and everybody has different parenting styles. I'm not going to tell you how to raise your own kid, but don't belittle your child because they lost a freaking jiu-jitsu match.
Well, you see, it's like the soccer moms and
Well,
dads
look,
and
Monday.
all that
Here's the
bullshit.
thing. In the grand scheme of things, that means nothing, and that's one of the best things that I take with me when I compete. Is I know if I win or lose, it doesn't matter. Monday, I have to go to work and make money regardless of what happened to me on Saturday.
Absolutely.
So it's like not having that pressure makes it fun for me. And if I had to put pressure on myself to win everything, I would never compete because I'd be such a wreck and I'd be so nervous and I'd be like,
Yeah, but you know what it is too is the more the sport grows, the more parents are gonna see that as the potential of either that's the out or that's a way for my kid to make money. Remember when we had Al from One vs. Need? He told us about Al Legora from One vs. Need was on the podcast, and he told us a story about how this father, I think it was a girl, right? I think it was a father reached out to him saying, hey, you know, we don't live in the United States. We're trying to move there. I want my kid to get like a sponsor, and like they want to compete, and like that's the way that he saw the out. The more that happens, the more you're gonna get those like Tiger moms, like the Tiger Woods moms, of like train. Like that's the only way you're gonna like.
And that happens in every sport.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
In every
That-
sort of culture, it's inevitable when it comes to that.
and it shouldn't happen. The kid should only train that much
if they want to.
if they want to.
Yeah.
You shouldn't force them. Like, it's different. Like, I understand, like, if a kid signs up for soccer or football or baseball and making them fit, and they find out they don't like it, you make them finish that season because they made a commitment. Look, make that commitment. But if you're in martial arts and your kid doesn't like it, take them out.
Yeah.
Take them out. That's wasted money for you, and it's wasted time for them.
They could be doing anything else that they might end up liking. They might end up liking music. They might end up doing whatever.
Yeah.
They got to just
Not
support 'em.
everybody. Look, not everybody has to be an athlete. We need scientists. We need, we need doctors. We need people that use their brain more than we need people that use their body. So, there's nothing wrong if your kid's not athletic or your kid's not competitive.
Well, let's not promote obesity here. I mean, kids got to like exercise a little bit
what does
too.
obesity have to do with not athletic and not?
right.
Look who's talking.
Don't worry about it. I have a fast metabolism.
Yeah, let's
Don't
raise
worry
your
about
shirt
me.
up and let's take a look at that belly.
It's right there. Yeah, it's good.
You're
Don't worry
working your
about
way
me.
up to
I'm
ultra
at
heavyweight.
I'm at
You know,
205.
and going back to enjoying the jiu-jitsu, even at the competition level. I remember Rafael Lovato putting a really funny video.
Oh, masters
the
and
difference of, adult black belt, new style type jiu-jitsu, and then he's with one of his guys, and they're also like super
They
aggressive.
both pulled guard.
Butt scoop, 50-50, get a sweep, you're a world champion.
Yeah.
Versus
The masters.
Masters jiu-jitsu, and they're, man, how you doing? I haven't seen you in so long. And the match starts, and they get a technical takedown, a guard. There's a little bit more technique involved, and get the submission. Man, your arm okay? You all right?
Yeah.
Let's go get a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
That was
You gotta
perfect.
enjoy it.
You know who's got like the funniest like when he teaches is Pulga. Pulga is always funny how he breaks down like the points and stuff like that when he talks about stuff. He's like, look, just be smart. He's like, look, sweep, 2 points, world champ. That's what it is. So it's like each class, he's like,
Puga is one of the funniest people I know. But unconscious, not.
He doesn't mean to be funny. He
does mean to be funny.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. Even with how broken his English is, how funny he is. And I've never seen that dude in a bad mood. I've never seen Puga in a bad mood. He's one of those people that I love to see. Whenever he's around, I'm like, yes, Puga's here.
He's someone that never really got his credit in MMA. Like,
not at all.
He won the belt. He had the belt and then didn't get another fight. Like, what sense does that?
What was his record? Isn't it like 15-1?
Yeah, no, I think
it's some crazy number like that.
Is he retired from MMA?
I don't know if he's officially retired. I think he just didn't want to focus it anymore. I think he got tired of trying to find.
Well, look, I can understand people not wanting to fight him.
Yeah.
Would you want to fight this guy that can just, you can basically tap almost anybody out?
Let's see what.
It's like wanting to.
And even whatchamacallit, for Worlds, he won Worlds. Like, I mean, get him back on there. I think he won 2 years in a row.
He won the year. He won
2 years in a row.
The year that I won brown, he won black.
Right.
And then he came back and won black the next year. I think he won
15-2.
15. I know it was a very, very, very good
and then
record.
it's not like, I mean, he's had legitimate like good fight. Yeah, the last one was a loss. Look, man, he only lost to Rick Glenn and Christos Giagos, but he's fought some legit people, man. And I hope that they're gonna put him back at the next fight to win. I think they're putting him into the next one, right?
I don't
think
know.
so. He got AJ pretty good. AJ pretty good.
It's AJ Agazarm, the king of escapes.
It's like he's always like, it's like he's just small enough, or his neck is just big enough that they can't. It's like, it's weird.
I've seen that guy in a Kimura. His hand touch the back of his neck, and his face cold as ice. Gets out, continues like nothing happened.
I think he's better than like he gets credit for or he lets on. I don't think he's amazing, but I think he's way better.
He's very skilled.
But when's the last time you've seen him win by?
That's different.
By submission.
Oof.
He got pretty close over the weekend when he was competing against Herbert.
Right, but when's the last time you saw him? I'm talking in the big.
No, he's a points player.
He's a points player. And there's nothing wrong with a points player, but what gets him continually booked in these big matches has nothing to do with his jiu-jitsu.
Look, man, he's just lucky it ended the way it ended against Vagner. Vagner was gonna kick the shit out of him. And he's like, you know what? Fuck this jiu-jitsu thing. I'm gonna just beat the shit out of this kid.
What Gilbert just didn't even wouldn't buy into that shit.
No. Why is he going to? He knows where he's at.
Yeah.
Gilbert knows where he's at. Like, AJ is just, he wants to get into MMA, and I don't think it would last that long. I don't think so.
I mean, his style is a little different. I think his jiu-jitsu style is good for MMA.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, he's a wrestler.
Right.
He's got the wrestling base.
He's a good wrestler, Division I wrestler.
I don't know if he's got the hands.
He's a good high-level black belt, and he's athletic. Have we seen his stand-up game? Not yet.
He's still finished second.
But he is training quite a bit. I mean, I know the word out there is, that he's looking to get an organization and asking for a reasonable amount of money.
He's probably will get into one.
I think that's the best way into MMA is to get big in either Muay Thai or any one of the
in your own particular skill.
In your own particular skill, you should become a big name doing that. That for sure gives you an incredible base.
Sure.
Once the shit hits the fan, it gives you an incredible base to fall back on, whether it's wrestling, Muay Thai, boxing, jiu-jitsu. And then you can start, once you come into these organizations, you have a name.
Sure.
If you don't have a name, who gives a shit? Because when it comes to that level, it's all about putting asses in the seats. And how many people are going to buy a ticket to watch you fight if they don't know who the hell you are? I
mean, I don't disagree. I think you still, at the end of the day, you're still going to have hands.
Oh, always.
You can't
always.
You're not going to have the days of Ronda Rousey anymore where you're just going to be able to hip toss someone, armbar.
She also knocked a couple people out. Yeah. Don't forget that. People forget that.
Come on. That's like...
She knocked out, what's her name? Betch Kohea. Put her to sleep.
The level, at the time, she was the highest level for women's MMA. Now, not so much. If she fought again now, they would all be like Holly Holm fights.
And then who was the other one she put out in the headlock? She just started.
She did Kat Zingano like that.
Put her to sleep.
Yeah, Misha Tate, she beat up too.
Yeah, but it was her arms. It was like I remember watching her versus Misha Tate and seeing Misha's arm. I was doing this, looking through my fingers because I hate seeing that. And like commenting for XFN, and I'm right there, and I see somebody. I'm like, I don't know what are the I can't.
I love it.
I can't. No, dude. I don't want to see it, nor do I want to hear it. The sound is worse.
You weren't there at the Roger Crawl. Oh my gosh, she's gonna kick me on my ass for not remembering his name. At the Titan FC fight that ended up going viral. I'm the one that had the video that ended up going viral because he had Crawl's arm just bent. Damn, he's gonna kick my ass for not remembering his name. I talk to him all the time too. I haven't talked to him in a while. He's an army guy. Shit. What the hell is this guy's name? Anyway, he bent his arm back in front of the ref. His arm was completely gone. And it just kept going for a minute. The ref just let him keep going. And the corner was like, fucking stop the fight. And he just kept on going.
I mean, that's different. It's a professional MMA fight. You know, and again, I've refereed many MMA matches. You're a professional MMA fight. I'm not going to stop the fight for a possible submission until you scream or you physically tap. Or in the case, I see something that the arm pops. I see something that indicates to me that you have a serious injury.
Oh, this was out.
You know?
I'll find it. I'll show you later on. I think we should probably wrap it up, gentlemen. We're hitting up the 2-hour mark.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Time flies.
Yeah, no, we definitely got to get you back here ASAP. Talk some more trash.
Anytime.
And get some more rules discussions.
And normally we don't talk jiu-jitsu this much.
Yeah.
And I'm not even kidding.
No, it's really the case.
We very rarely talk this much jiu-jitsu.
Before we cut it off, do you have any news for us on the next event? You got another event coming up?
Well, I mean, obviously there's a couple of events, the Fight to Wins. They got the Miami Open coming up now in November, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
What's up with 5 Grappling?
You got to ask Shawn Fowler that question.
We'll get Shawn on there. What about ADCC?
But I know Shawn, he has been working, and they're having, the league, and God, he's gonna be upset at me for not remembering the name. That they have some pretty big prize money put on the line
for his jiu-jitsu league.
Yeah, the World Series of grappling. There you go, Shawn. I didn't forget. So, and they got pretty good money on the line, and that's what they're being focused in. ADCC, November 3rd weekend is the East Coast Trials in Jersey, so that's coming up. Make sure that, sign up. If you think you got what it takes, this is the only guaranteed way to get into the big game. So, you got to win the trials. And I'm working on that.
I'm putting the pressure on purpose.
I know you are, but that's why I'm being vague as hell about it. So, there's a couple of things that I'm working on. And, here's the reality. It takes money to make things happen. And, unfortunately, life continues to get more and more expensive, and venues are not cheap. Yeah. Staff is not cheap, and equipment is not cheap. But, we got some pretty good things in plan, and we're close to coming to fruition. I just don't want to, count my eggs before they hatch. So to speak.
anything you need from our end to help out, just
I would love to. And I had a lot of fun, and I didn't realize we've been yapping away for 2 hours. So,
well, before we go, where can everybody reach you if they want to bug you?
Facebook, Carlos Diaz. You see my ugly mug in there, and Instagram at LOSDIAZ 2531.
Cool. And I'll tag you on the photos and stuff,
awesome.
So people will be able to hit you up. So if you got any questions on rules and you want to argue and debate them with Carlos, go ahead and follow him, hit him up. Bug him about getting another ADCC put together so we can get another cool tournament down here. Follow Shawn.
At Gorilla Boy BJJ everywhere except for Facebook, where my name is Shawn Ambrosino. which I think is bullshit that they don't let you just do a handle.
Well, actually, you can just get your own URL, but, I'll teach you that later, Grandpa. It's cool.
Thank you.
No problem. Follow me at Sonder Marketing. I got some cool stuff planned for next week. We might not have a podcast next week. I should be up in New York doing some blood sport stuff. I'll fill you guys in on that later on. Subscribe to the podcast, share it, follow Carlos, follow Shawn. Thank you to all our sponsors, Choke Aloha, Jiu-Jitsu Soap Co., and Giraffe Choke, and we'll catch you guys next time. You guys gonna say bye?
No. Fuck these people.
Bye.
You can't
Here's the deal. I'm the best there is, plain and simple. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence, and nobody can hang with my stuff.
Get stealing, woo, wheeling, dealing, limousine right, jet flying, son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time holding these alligators down. Woo!